You're all set.
Your Honor, Ms. Tillotson just ran out to the ladies' room. She'll be right
Sure.
back.
You don't have to tell me where she went.
Call that a bio break.
I'll just note that in the meantime, we did get, from what you sent last night, the transcription for Exhibit 91.
Okay, great.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, I do want to, it'd be helpful to confirm the question Ms. Goodhart raised about transcriptions on the record, but we can wait for.
Mhm.
let's wait.
Yeah, wait a minute. Go back on the record.
Don't rush her. She's got to. I don't believe in rushing people who need to use the facilities. She's right there.
Or muted.
Okay, we're back on the record. So I understand the defendants have the transcript of Exhibit 91 and the others that may have been missing. So Ms. Allison, why don't you proceed?
Yeah, well, my response was that Ms. Goodhart mentioned that there were transcriptions missing. I just wanted to be clear with respect to these transcriptions, Your Honor, that Harvard provided a number of title exhibits, which you can see in the index, have the Harvard Bates numbers. Harvard provided no transcriptions for those exhibits. So with respect to this Exhibit 91, we, the town, did prepare a transcription, which I understand Ms. Goodhart has now said they do have, but we have not prepared transcriptions for all of Harvard's exhibits. We did with respect to this one.
Okay.
All right, so Mr. Venozzi, before the break, you were trying to, I think, clarify the date for this deed. And I'm pointing to Exhibit 91.
Yes, I took a look at the deed itself, and it is the 30th of May, and the date of the deed is lost in the margin. That was, but we see that it was acknowledged on May 29th of 1793. So if it was acknowledged on May 29th of 1793, the deed couldn't have been dated May 30th. And the year is lost in the margin. And I believe that we had looked at the way that we determined the year on that. Was based the 7th year of the Majesty's reign, and we
You're
were
referring to the top of the second page.
yeah.
Okay.
I think we had determined it was 1777.
We're talking about Exhibit 91.
Yes.
Yeah.
So where it says 1793, it should be 1777.
On the bottom of the first page of the deed, on page 320, the last line says, "Witness, I've set my hand and seal this 30th day of May," and the year is lost in the margin, and it goes on to say, "in the 7th year of His Majesty's reign, and the reigning monarch at the time became the reigning monarch in 1770. So I think that's 1777.
Okay.
Just threw me a bit of a loop when I saw dates that didn't look familiar.
All right. Well, thank you for the clarification. Okay, so back to the significance of this document. You asked to turn to this document with respect to the way described through the Harris land. What's the significance of this document with respect to that, in your opinion?
This document describes a 3-acre tract of land, and it refers to the westerly boundary, 2 rods on a highway, and then westerly, and then northwesterly 22 rods on said way. So there's a westerly boundary that is approximately 22, 23, 24, 25 rods on the on a highway. And it also refers to a very short portion of a southerly line, 3 rods and 3/4 and a half, a quarter on a 4-rod way. And this parcel comes out of Mary Harris, and maybe if we could put the chalk up, I can show where that's located.
Just give me a moment. All right. Can you see the chalk now, Mr. Venazzi?
Yes, I can. This parcel is located, the frontage on the highway that it refers to, where it abuts the highway, is where lot 14, about where lot 1440 is shown, abutting the highway. And it describes a piece of land that is, with the other dimensions, it's like almost what we would call a pork chop lot today, with 3 rods of frontage on the 4-rod way, and a little sliver of 1438, which would be inside of what I've got crosshatched, and include most of 1440, or maybe it includes all of 1440. The second deed, which is the second Harris deed from Mary Harris to her son Jonathan, which is at tab, forgive me for not knowing.
Was that 110 that you referenced earlier?
Yes.
Okay.
That deed, the one at Exhibit 110, describes a parcel of land, an estimation of about 7 acres. And that refers to, that description has as a westerly and northwesterly boundary several angles on a county road, southeasterly on a town way, and then northeasterly and northerly on Benjamin Clark's land. And those 2 parcels of land come out of Harris. I looked to see if there were any deeds into Harris for parcels on the east side of Esterbrook Road, and looked at all deeds into Mary Harris or Jonathan Harris, and no deeds into them were found. But these 2 deeds came out of Harris. So that supports my opinion that the Harris farm in the 1730 deed straddled Estabrook Road, and that the way that's described, the second 2-rod way that's described at the end of that description in the 1730 deed is Estabrook Road.
And to what degree of certainty do you offer that opinion, Mr. Venozzi?
A high degree of certainty.
Your Honor, I understand we're going to break at 4. May I take just 2 minutes to see if we can wrap this up at the end, by the end of the day?
Sure.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Venazzi is going to be back for cross-examination, I assume.
He is. I'm just,
Yeah, just a
Sure,
couple
go
of
ahead.
questions for him.
I'm just wondering if I have any further questions for him before we end the day. Can I take a moment?
Yeah. Take a moment.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor. One thing I wanted to check. We would like to move to admit that index to what is now exhibits 115, the assignments to the surveyor of highways. I know council, we've each argued as to admission of that as an exhibit, but I don't believe the court ruled on.
I don't think I've ruled on it. I don't think I've seen it, so.
Your Honor, could I just ask that we defer this till the morning so that we have
yeah.
a chance to look at the transcriptions and the excerpts and make sure they're accurate? I'm sure they are, but we have to do our jobs.
That's fine, and
Yeah, that's
I want to take a look at, this is the index to,
It was the index to what was the contested exhibit L and all the subparts, which has now been admitted as exhibits 115
right.
dash 1 through 59.
So there's a separate, it's just a list of those documents?
Well, it's an index with those excerpted transcriptions that we
Oh,
that
okay.
we were talking about. And I just, I wanted to be sure that we had wrapped that up, or that the court, as Mr. Cooper suggests, which I fully understand, after they look at it, we'll address it tomorrow.
Make sure that I have it. Could you have that document emailed to Ms. Rosa? And she'll forward
We
it?
did email it earlier today. Yes.
Okay. So we'll take a look at that. We'll make that the first order of business in the morning. Now, are you wrapped up with your direct, Mr. Venazzi?
We are. I am, Your Honor.
Okay, so we'll proceed tomorrow with this issue of the index of transcripts of former contested exhibits L, and then we'll proceed to the cross-examination of Mr. Venazzi at 9:30 in the morning. Anything else before?
Thank
we
you, Your
break?
Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And Mr. Cooper, I apologize when you said you don't want to try the court's patience. I apologize if I appeared to you to be annoyed. I was not.
You'd be the first judge then not to be annoyed.
Well, but I'd never admit it. So I understand it's counsel's job to make objections. It's my job to rule on them, and I don't have any problem with that. All right. So we'll proceed tomorrow at 9:30. Okay.
Thank you.
Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.